Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy New Year to everyone. I hope everyone had a safe New Year's Eve and brought the 2013 year in, not with a bang, but with big things. Hopes, dreams, aspirations that were unachieved in 2012. I pray that 2013 brings you those things. Yes, this is a new year. I'm not one who makes New Year's resolutions. I make each day a resolution each day. At the end of the day, I try to make sure that I evaluate and assess the achieved and unachieved. And if I am blessed to wake up the following day, continue that on. So that's what I do. That works for me, because tomorrow is never guaranteed. But I need to take a look at my day. I mean, the day should be spent in helping someone. The day should be spent in doing something that's going to help others. It's not about me. This life is not about me in that sense. It's a matter of I need to be a good servant. And for me, servitude is first and foremost. I'm not perfect. Don't strive to be perfect. Humanity was not created perfect. We are all flawed. All of us are flawed. So for all of you perfect listeners, you probably have gone into some sort of shock right now from what I just said, and probably went into automatic denial. But it's okay. Reality has a way of showing up and forcing us to take a realistic look at ourselves. And sometimes that reality can be very painful. Then we begin to live in an oblivious condition because we don't want to face that reality, and we spend the rest of our lives wandering aimlessly in the world. Today I really want to focus on family rebuilding, family reunification, family unification. I was just online, and I was looking at a posting on Facebook that was talking about the increased prison population and how the prison population is rapidly growing, and it's outgrowing population growth. I mean, it's like more people are going to prison, and they're going in more quicker than there are babies being brought into the world. And I often hear so many complaints about what that system is doing to us as a people. And the system is not doing anything other than that which we are allowing it to do. You can't blame corrections for growing because of the need to hold custody individuals who are committing crime. How are you going to blame that system for doing what it's supposed to do? Their responsibility is custody and control. You commit crime, you get locked up. Prisons are being overcrowded because we keep committing crime. Where else are they going to put all these individuals they're locking up? Then when it's too many people jammed into the cell, then we complain about unfair conditions. Well, let's address the conditions that are happening outside of the institutions, which are causing the institutions to overflow. Let's address that. We don't want to address that. We want to keep pointing fingers and blaming a particular system for doing things to us as a people. They would not grow if our people were not going to prison and committing crimes in the magnitude that they have been. So let's, you know, this is not going to be the year for soft talk for me. There's been enough soft talk. Soft talk is over. It's time for real talk. Not harsh and disrespectful talk, but real talk. Because that's not what we're doing here. We keep calling it something else, something cute to make it look real nice, and the reality of it is we have the end result of prisons being overflowing with our folks. And I'm speaking specifically to black folks. We can complain all day long about the sentencing disparities. We can complain all day long about racial profiling. We can do that all day long. We have been doing it for years. Matter of fact, we've been doing it for centuries. But if we're not changing our condition as a people to put an end to even slow down the magnitude of black males especially going to prison, what are we complaining about? What are we complaining about? I keep hearing all these complaints about a failed education system, especially in Philadelphia. Okay, but we have so many parents who themselves are illiterate, who cannot even help their children do the homework that they're bringing home. What are we doing about helping the parent? You know who the parents are. You know who can't read. You know who struggles with math, English, history, and those kind of things. As a family member, why aren't you stepping in to help? Why aren't you stepping in to help? I had spoken to, I was on the I called into the Anthony Johnson show last night, and one of the things that I was telling him, how I've been having this conversation with people about other countries that don't have close to what we have in an educational system, who are still producing graduates. Children are completing school in these third world countries. They may not be getting the level of education that we're getting, but they're learning. They're learning. If I took a book and made copies from this book for today's session and distributed it to every student in my class and teach it to my students, they are still learning. There's a reason why our children are not learning. And we need to stop putting the total blame on the educational system. We need to stop putting the total blame on the educators, because when these teachers come into class, they have a lot to contend with beyond their educational obligations. Beyond that, I've been into elementary schools, I've been into middle schools, I've been into high schools, and I can tell you this, I couldn't even tell the damn difference. If I didn't know I walked into a specific grade level of school, by the behaviors that I saw being displayed in those environments, I really couldn't tell you the difference. High school children acting like they're in elementary school, running up and down the hallways between classes, having to be told by educators, go to class, get out of the hallway, stop this, stop that. It's like you're talking to 4- and 5-year-olds. That's not an educator's responsibility to deal with. That's a parental issue. That's a parental issue. It's a parental issue. Homework not being checked. When my mother told us to leave our completed work assignments on the table so she could see them when she got in from work, they had better, first of all, been on the table so she can see them. And she shouldn't have to go flipping through pages to find out where the work is. It should be open to the page. Now, my mother got off of work at 11 o'clock at night. So she'd get home 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, and if she came home and it wasn't there, or it wasn't done, or it wasn't done correctly, guess who was getting about to bed to get that work done? There was no question about it. No question at all that I was coming downstairs to get that homework done and get it done correctly. Yeah, you can fall asleep in class all you want, but you're going to turn in completed work. There's not going to be an excuse that you didn't get your homework done. She wasn't going to allow that to happen. She wasn't going to allow herself to be identified as being a parent who wasn't making the effort at ensuring that her child, that her children were getting their work in. A lot of that is not happening anymore. She sat down with us and made sure that we understood what the assignment was. And if we didn't understand the assignment, she would go over it with us, and if she didn't understand it, we would still make an effort at doing something, and then she would make sure that she contacted the teachers the next day to find out what exactly the assignment was, and if there needed to be any corrections made, that we would make them immediately. Therefore, we could be graded appropriately. But there was dialogue between my mother and the teacher. Positive dialogue. She didn't just show up at the school when they called her and said that I was acting out in school. No. She showed up at school when I was doing well. She showed up in school to make sure that the teachers knew that she had, that they had her support. And a lot of things have changed in the schools that disallow parents' involvement. And we can change that. We have the power to change that. If you're going to a school and there's a principal at the school who is has set a standard where he does not or she does not want parents coming to school, you have the power to get that changed. And you need to go the right route to get that changed, because there are rights that you have as a parent. As a parent. And if you have never gone on the Facebook page Parent Power, that's Parent Power. It's a Facebook page. If you have never been onto that page, go onto that page, become a member so you can be in tune with what's happening in the Philadelphia school system. But it's important that a parent takes responsibility and ensure that they know what their child is doing in school as far as the curriculum. You need to know what they're doing. Because if you don't know the work, then you need to go get Cousin Mary, Nephew Frank, Aunt so-and-so. You need to get somebody who knows this stuff to help. Proficiency and mastering of these curriculums starts at home. It starts at home. We have given the children too many liberties of coming home and doing nothing but sitting on their behinds, talking on the phones, playing video games, stuck on social media. They're not even connected with the rest of the world, and they're being further and further drawn away from it the more there's access to certain things online that they're involved with. The days of turn TV, radio, and everything off and sitting down and doing your homework seem to have been long over. There was no TV. There was no radio playing. There was no me sitting there bobbing my head, tapping my foot, doing my homework. There was none of that. There was none of that. Excuse me. And if you can demonstrate to me now, because we're in a different day and age, and I understand that, we need to find a way, we need to find an end, to have our children be productive. But if you can demonstrate that you can successfully focus on your work and complete it correctly, expeditiously, uninterrupted, and you can have that music on, I'll ride with you on it. But if it's not being done accurately, clearly, neatly, and all those requirements that the teacher has set, the standard and the standard that you have set for work, you stop accepting work that's not even structured properly, is not headed correctly. It's not written correctly. It's just thrown together. You stop accepting that first, and they'll stop turning that stuff on, turning that stuff in. So, but you have to set some kind of standard for learning at home. At your home. That's your home. Period. We were also talking about dropping the ball. There are a lot of things that those my age keep using as a point of reference in terms of, well, when I was a child, this is how it was. When, you know, well, did you pass that on to yours? Did you pass that on to your children? Somewhere along the line, somebody dropped the ball, and everybody's like saying like it wasn't me. But our children didn't get to the condition that they're currently in without help. Without help. So somewhere along the line, we dropped the ball. We stopped having those Sunday dinners every week like we used to. My grandmother, we used to go to my grandmother's every Sunday and have dinner as a family. So basically what you saw at Sunday dinner were at a minimum 3 generations sitting at the table having dinner together. 3 generations. That was my mother, her parents, and us as my mother's children. 3 generations. Also, there were my mother's siblings, my aunts and uncles, who were there. What happened? What happened? God bless my grandmother. She's deceased now, but when she got to the point of her arthritis being unbearable for her to be able to do those rolls, you know, that she used to make, those fresh, doughy, fluffy rolls that she used to make, you know, somebody began to put a hand in and begin to make them, but somewhere along the line, it just stopped happening. Everybody went their own separate ways. They got their families and they moved away with their families and began to grow, and groom their own families, but not all coming back to the table every Sunday. That should have never stopped. That should have never stopped. Now, that's just in my own family I'm identifying a ball being dropped. Now, I'm not pointing fingers as to who dropped it, but the ball was dropped. The ball was dropped. So now we live in a society where everybody's scattered all over the place. We can't find Uncle Frank. We can't find Aunt Mary. We can't find Cousin Jean. We can't find our niece Letitia. We can't find people. We don't know where people are. And now we're scurrying years later, you know, trying to find where all these people are so you can get a chance to meet your new niece. We don't even know. We're walking right past family every single day. That's your family you just walked past. That's your family as you just read about in the newspaper who is now in the Senate. That's your family who plays for the NFL. That's your family who plays for the NBA. That's your family who has the nonprofit over there that's out there saving lives. You don't even know that's your family. We don't know each other. So when we look at the condition of the black community specifically, we have to look at where we drop the ball. And we have to pick that ball back up. Somebody has to pick the ball back up. And not only pick it up, but take it and hold it securely, like they do in football. When you're running up the field, running towards that goal line, you have to protect the ball. You have to pick the ball up. We have to pick the ball up and we have to protect the ball. And we have to make sure that we're passing it on to somebody, but before we pass it on, we have to prepare them for how to protect that ball. That means that we have to instill in them the village concept, the values of the village concept, why this is important, why you have to keep having these Sunday dinners. And you don't have to pay for everything because it's at your house. This month it's at your house and everybody needs to bring a dish. Everybody can afford to bring a dish. Why not? Isn't it worth it to save the family, to keep the family meeting together, to keep the family unified? Isn't it worth it? You go into McDonald's and spend $50 easy on fast food. Get talked to dirty by the person at the counter, who in many cases may be black. Get a grisly attitude at the drive-thru window. Dare not you bring anything back because it's wrong and you get cussed out about it. Then sit in an environment with a whole bunch of folks you don't know who have piss-poor attitudes, who have filthy, foul mouths, You'll do that. But you won't make a dish of some greens, some salad, some green salad, potato salad, some broiled chicken, baked chicken, some healthy foods. We have so many reasons why our children eat poorly, and a lot of the reasons have to do with us. This is an opportunity to sit down and talk about healthy eating habits, healthy living habits, to find out who's doing well in school, who's not doing well in school, who needs some help. Perfect time to do these kind of things. We're not doing these things, so we have no idea what our kids are doing. We have little girls in their rooms dropping it like it's hot in front of a video camera, and it's all over YouTube. It's all over YouTube. They're erecting poles in that building, putting on stilettos and thongs and little dangles on their breasts. And they got a little boy sitting on the other side on Skype looking at little girls, your daughter, because you're not in that room, because you allow them to lock the door, because you allow them to isolate. You have no clue what they're doing. So predators these days don't have much work to do because it's being done for them, and you're helping. All these children that are all of a sudden winding up missing, disappearing all over the world. But right here in the United States, every day I'm seeing another posting about a child disappearing. So we have children who are disappearing because somebody is taking them, or because they're willfully just walking away because they think they're going to get a better life. So we have this slavery thing that's going on, where they're taking young girls off the street and putting them into prostitution, selling them across seas, and they think they're going to a better life because they're making money, because they're coming up. We have children who are disappearing into the judicial system, who are being locked up in record numbers, who are being pulled into the drug culture industry, who are being pulled into the gang culture into the street. Whose issue is this? Are you saying that this is a government issue too? Come on, folks. When are we going to stop blaming people? Really? So I have some solutions, because I'm not going to just point out the problem, but I have some solutions too. And one of the things that we have to stop doing is stop dismissing any solution that people give that's not our own. If you're doing nothing, that's the solution? And we seem to have fallen into a lull of nothingness. We do nothing but complain. Somebody offers a suggestion, we reject it. Nah, that's not going to work. You haven't even tried it. So I have some suggestions that maybe can bring some resolve to some of the unresolved within your home, because this is about getting our house in order. And when I say getting our house in order, the first house you need to get in order is yourself. You need to cleanse yourself of that ill thinking, of that negativity, of that spite, of those resentments, of that hatefulness. You need to free yourself of that. So if it's a matter of you need to start forgiving some people so you can get that weight off you, start with some forgiving. Because forgiving is not for the other person, forgiving is for you. So get your house in order first. Then once you get this house in order, your spiritual house together, then you get your home, that physical structure outside of you, you get that together. You start getting that in order. Maybe you can start by opening up the shades, opening up the curtains, and letting some sunshine in. Stop living in the dark ages. Start seeing what's really going on in your home. Start going up into your children's room and looking through their things. Yes, looking through their things, opening up their drawers, moving some things out the way, opening some boxes that are up under the bed, that are stashed up in the corner of the closet. Yes, it's time to start doing those things. Start challenging your children as to what it is that they're doing. Start challenging them on their friends. No, you need to start being over here. I don't want you over there. You're not going over there. Period. End of story. They can come over here. So we need to start doing some things different. So we want to start there. Get yourself in order, then open up the windows and open up the shades and the blinds in your house so you can get a very clear picture of what's happening in your home. So number one that I put on the list is begin to greet one another. For instance, get up in the morning, good morning, son. Good morning, daughter. And expect a response back. Don't just say good morning and keep on walking. Expect that they say good morning back. expect they say good morning back. We need to start placing expectations on communication in our home. I didn't hear you say good morning. I'm sorry, what was that? Oh no, I said good morning. I said good morning. Good morning. Number 2 that I put on that list. And before I move to number 2, when you establish that kind of habit of greeting in your own home, when they walk out of the door, they have become acclimated to doing it to others. Because finding out many of our communities, we don't say anything to any of our neighbors. People can live directly next door to us. We will come out of the door and walk right past them like we never even saw them. So what begins in the home trickles down into the community. Okay? Number 2, when entering or leaving the home, there should be some dialogue. Mom, I'm out. Dad, I'm out. Sis, I'm rolling. I'm not saying walk through the house and knock on everybody's door and say I'm out, I'm out, I'm out, I'm out. If you want to do that, fine. You can do that too. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that we need to just stop walking out of the door. We need to stop allowing our children to just walk out of the door and roll out and don't even know they left. You sitting down at the table calling, Joe! Phone! Well, let me go see it. He ain't even here. Why did you know Joe wasn't in the house? You should have known. You should have known. So we need to start communication going on. You need to tell me when you're leaving. I need to know you're leaving the house. And don't just yell upstairs and think I heard you. Come and make sure I heard you. If I'm in my room and my door's closed, you need to knock on the door. Mom, Dad, I'm rolling out. And you need to respond back. Okay, son. Okay, daughter. Be safe. See you later. Dialogue. Dialogue. Okay? You have your key? You have your phone? Do we have Jack's phone number? I need you to leave that number. Because if I need to reach you, I need to have that number in case something happens here. Anything can happen here, we need to be able to reach you. I'm not checking up on you, I'm not following behind you, but I just need to be able to get in touch with you in case something happens with the family. Yes, the family. When coming into the house, it's really important to say hello. Hey Mom, what's going on? I'm here. I'm going upstairs. Now be in my room. And if you happen to be downstairs, and they're sitting downstairs, hey, how was your day? Sometimes there's something going on, and we just don't know what's going on. If we ask the question, how was your day, then we can kind of get a feel for how the rest of the day is going to go. What it is we may need to do in terms of an intervention or something. We would have to do less intervening if we did more preventive kind of things. So part of a preventive way to keep things from just festering within our children and going unnoticed is to ask questions so we'll know what's going on. The last thing we're going to be able to cover today, and we'll pick up next Friday on the remainder of this, because I'm really not finished this list, is at least one meal should be had together, if not daily, weekly. And it has to be a very good reason why you're not having it daily. A very good reason. It has to be impossible for you to fit into your schedule one meal if you're not having it daily. But at least if you can't do that, have one meal together as a family weekly. And I mean everybody. Everybody. But be considerate. Be considerate of the fact that your children also tend to make schedules to be with, you know, their friends and do certain things too. And maybe you might say, okay, well, you can bring so-and-so today, but we're still going to get together as a family. And maybe you're helping their friend get an understanding and learn something about family values as well. But it has to be consistent. And you can start this right now. So the three that we covered: greeting one another, when entering or leaving the home, having dialogue, and having one meal together, if not daily, weekly. If you can take those three, try one of those, and I want to see you posting on Facebook at Sabir Aleem on the Facebook page. I want you to post on it how that worked for you. Again, thank you for joining SoftSpot today. Have a safe day. Peace. Enjoy.